Welcome, everyone. Blessings. And we take this opportunity to savor the blessedness of being able to appreciate this moment, honor this moment, as we realign with that deeply wholesome, auspicious, centering, stabilizing faculty, inherent principle of mindfulness, of awareness, as we receive this body into this aura of listening, appreciation, this sensitive body that is sustained by breathing, consciously receive that life sustaining, life giving in breath. Consciously relax as we let go of this out breath, which is our gift back into the matrix of nature. Give back what the trees breathe in, what the trees breathe out, our precious family in the plant kingdom. What they breathe out sustains our life with that oxygen that we breathe in. Just taking a few long, slow, mindful in and out breaths as we allow our awareness to be stabilized, refined, noticed, steadied on this body breathing. Appreciating that this body is an earth body. This body all the food that nourishes this body, all the things that we wear on this body, all the structures, if we're inside a shelter, that have built that structure, all come from earth. Why many cultures call earth Mother Earth. When this body dies, it returns to Mother Earth, to this source, this ground of form. As we acknowledge Mother Earth, sensing where our body touches ground, appreciating that pull, Mother Earth, of this vast earth, and this little body, there's this magnetic pull called gravity. It's unseen, but we feel it. Consciously sensing that pressure of body pull to ground. Allow our body to align forward, back, left, and right as we find that that balance, that centrality. And if we're sitting upright, not rigid, but not too slouched, let the body make micro adjustments as this little body aligns with its source, ground. When we align with ground, attuned to earth, which this is an earth body, then we partake of Mother Earth's immeasurable steadiness, depth, power. Breathing in and out, savoring, appreciating the life-giving breath. Each in-breath is a brightening, a healing, a blessing. As we relax on the out-breath, that healing, sustaining energy of breath. As we soften on each out-breath, that is allowed to suffuse and permeate through the body. And on that out-breath, as we relax, the body continues to align. Spine as if down into the center, core of the earth, that molten source of the earth's life force, power. From down the center of the earth, up through the spine, up into the sky. When we're aligned like this, we're attuned to this vastness, the particularity of the body, so just being present for breath, balance, is aligned with the vastness, the immeasurability. Being at ease, breathing in, being at ease, breathing out. With an awareness that's kind, not fighting. Whatever impressions, thoughts about what's coming today or what happened yesterday or judgments, we notice them, but for now we're allowing the body-mind to attune to each other. We can, with each in-breath, have a quiet whispered Bud, and each out-breath To just means the awakened one. Bud on the in-breath, let it mingle with the sensations of breathing in. To, that O of the out-breath is open, it relaxes. As that sound dissolves, we rest back into that Buddha, timeless Buddha, which is the knowing, listening, aware heart, which is our essence. Buddha. Nothing to figure out. Just allowing the heart to be simple with this much. Breathing in, breathing out. Aligning with ground. Relaxing. Resting in a heart of friendly, patient, kindly awareness. That awareness is steadied by the vibratory sense of breathing in and out. From this place of presence. Doesn't have to be perfect. We are the way we are. But just from this place of conscious, reflective. What does reflective mean? It means the awareness is as perspective on, reflective on. There's a resonance that we can recognize as body touching ground, the cushion, the chair, the bed, the couch, wherever we are. Perspective of an awareness that can recognize, discern, in-breath, out-breath. Perspective can recognize an awareness that's battling. That might be a tendency, but can keep encouraging the heart to relax with, welcome, be friendly with, even that which is not easy to be with. This is a refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Being aware of the way things are and continuing to befriend that which is skillful. That's the essence of Sangha, that movement, that practice to keep realigning, moving from the unconscious to the conscious. Within this space, let's take up a practice praised by the Buddha, honoring what is worthy of honor. Let's together, all of this, our wonderful Sangha, wherever we're located on this mysterious earth, this extraordinary planet which seen from space, this beautiful blue planet. The earth is pulling all of us toward her, toward however we conceive of this ground. Many cultures say Mother Earth, but maybe your culture says Father Earth or Source. However we conceive of it, let's honor what is worthy of honor on this planet. What's called puja, which the Buddha taught as a way of generating blessings, generating protections, generating auspicious energy, taking this moment, which we've already begun to cultivate, of bringing the body, the speech, the mind together, and carried on that sacred out-breath. Let's celebrate the awakened one. Top of page 3 on our chanting book, one of the first ways, right back through the centuries of honoring the Buddha, Namo Tassa, that wonderful word, Namo, I honor, I return my life, Tassa Bhagavato, to that blessed one, that one filled with blessings, Arahato, that worthy, purified one who is seen through, totally disentangled from all greed, hatred, and delusion. Sammasambuddhassa, fully awakened. Honoring the Buddha and then reciting the qualities of the Triple Jewel on the next page. Page 4, that ancient, wonderful chant where we're celebrating these sources of inspiration which are within us. These qualities are within us that the Buddha taught. When we align with these qualities of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, fear drops away gradually because we're aligning with what is truly trustworthy. Because I'm chanting on my own, I might have to take a breath. So I'm sure I'll take a breath. But you keep chanting. So you keep the chant going. When I'm breathing, the chant will still go, but you're keeping it going. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijja chalana sampanno sukhato lokavidu anuttaro apurisatam masahalatissa tadevam manusanang Buddho bhagavati sava kato bhagavatatam Ditiko akaliko ehipasiko panayiko pachatang vetitaboin yu Iti supatipanno bhagavato sahavaka sangho Ujjupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samicipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yatitang Chattari Purisayuga Niya Tapurisapugala Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahunayo Pahunayo Dakinayo Anjali Kalaniyo hanu tarang punya ketang lokasati. On page 5 and 6, the wonderful teaching the Buddha gave on the highest blessings, the graduated teachings that encompass the wonderful breadth, all-encompassing breadth of the Buddha's teachings, from who we befriend, how we interact in this life, how we live, how we speak, how we act, to the most subtle, liberating dimension of the teachings. Page 5 and 6. Now let us chant the Buddha's teaching on highest blessings. Thus have I heard that the Blessed One was staying at Savatthi, residing at the Jeta's Grove in Anathapindika's park. Then in the dark of the night a radiant Deva illuminated all Jeta's Grove. She bowed down low before the Blessed One. Then standing to one side she said, Devas are concerned for happiness and ever long for peace. The same is true for humankind. What then are the highest blessings? Avoiding those of foolish ways, associating with the wise, and honoring those worthy of honor. These are the highest blessings.
living in places of suitable kinds, with the fruits of past good deeds, and guided by the rightful way. These are the highest blessings. Accomplished in learning and craftsman skills, with discipline highly trained, and speech that is true and pleasant to hear. These are the highest blessings. Providing for mother and father's support, and cherishing family, and ways of work that harm no being. These are the highest blessings. Giving with Dharma in the heart, offering help to relatives and kin, and acting in ways that leave no blame. These are the highest blessings. Steadfast in restraint, and shunning evil ways, avoiding intoxicants that dull the mind, and mindfulness in all things that arise. These are the highest blessings. Respectfulness and of humble ways, contentment and gratitude, and hearing the Dhamma frequently taught. These are the highest blessings. Patience and willingness to accept one's faults, seeing venerated seekers of the truth, and sharing often the words of Dhamma. These are the highest blessings. The holy life lived with ardent effort, seeing for oneself the noble truths, and the realization of Nibbana. These are the highest blessings. Although involved in worldly ways, unshaken the mind remains, and beyond all sorrow, spotless, secure. These are the highest blessings. They who live by following this path know victory wherever they go, and every place for them is safe. These are the highest blessings.
Invoking the power of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, the greatly compassionate one, on page 11, no, page 12, the Great Compassion Mantra, reciting the Great Compassion Mantra, the ineffable phrases, the magical phrases of the Great Compassion Mantra, as these sounds carrying the vow power of the great Bodhisattva, potentized by our own here now presence, our own kindness, our own commitment to the path. The blessings of the Great Compassion Mantra permeate, suffuse inwardly, outwardly, in all directions, dissolving obstacles, subduing the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion, quelling catastrophe and disaster, helping beings return to well-being, mutual respect. Namo Dabe Kuan Chu Yin Pu San No
in pum sa Namalladanandola ye namahuriye palujiri shao Putti sattapayama chalunit Saban lavaye sodano dashinamo Toyimangaliye palujiri shafalalanto panamon Dili moha pando samye sappa tada shupangash Sappa sadonamo patimo fataro rajatana napalushi Chiladi ichili moha puri sada sappa molla moshi litoy Julu jaman dulu fashi edim Tola dilini shafola ye jula momom famula dili yeshi shan Fola shan fola sheli fashan fola shay Hulu mola hulu shili sola sol Shili sulu puti Putoye milili enola jinchadili shining up ayamona sopa chitaye sop Mahachitaye sopa chitaye sherpanaye sopa Nola jincha sopa nola sopa Tilu sangha muchaye sopa maha ashitaye sopa Chachila chitaye sopa Parama jesitaye sopa Nola jincha panchelaye sopa Mopali shanjelaye sopa Namahalada nandola ye namo aliye polu jedi shao Ye sopa nanji jandu mandola bato ye sopa han
I'm very grateful for this gathering. That Sacred Mountain Sangha makes possible for us, encouraging us all to remember wherever we are sitting on the sacred mountain. We forget meeting together, remembering what we cherish, celebrating that, reflecting on the Dharma helps us remember, realign. I love the mysterious way in which remember, it's a bit perhaps a fanciful etymology, but I consider remember in terms of dismember. You get dismembered, dislocated, lost. Remembering, realigning. I'm grateful. I woke up tired, did my practices this morning, but still just noticing I'm tired. In fact, I was all logged on ready. It was 9 o'clock. There was nobody here. I was thinking, well, the Sangha is a little sparse today. And then I thought, Kittisaro, you might have just logged into the wrong link. I don't know. It didn't look like anybody's here. So I ended the meeting with myself. And I had indeed checked into I was having a board meeting all by myself. But I'm so glad even with a mindfulness that was a little shaky there, clicked on the wrong button. We can always begin again. Who says Buddhism doesn't have good news? Praise the Lord. We can always begin again. So there's a part of the Dharma that I love reflecting on frequently that I'm going to share today. It simplifies things. There was a famous spontaneous gathering in the early days after the Buddha's awakening, when he had been doing teaching for some time. But the Buddha taught for 45 years, was in that early period. And spontaneously, 1,250 of his awakened disciples, without like a special invitation, they all gathered at the same time to come and find the Buddha. So there was this gathering, and the Buddha gave a talk. And so you're thinking, wow, that must have been a pretty high talk. I don't know if we can even dare. What would he say to 1,250 enlightened disciples? And it's called the Ovada Patimokkha, the sort of laying down of the training, the essentials of the training. And I love it. I'll share with you today. First, the Pali. It's beautiful. Sabbapa passa akaranang. Kusala supasampada. Sacitta pariodapanang etang buddhana sasana. Just a few lines. Sabba pasa akaranam. Sabba means all. Papa. Pasa. That's a word for like evil. That which is really harmful. Akaranang. Kara is connected to karma, the doing. Akaranang. The A means you don't. Means refraining, stopping, not doing. A not doing is the first training. Kusala supa sampada. Kusala, we've heard that word, many of us. It's the wholesome. Upasampada means lift it up, make much of it, cultivate it. Sajitta pariotapanang. Jitta. Many of you know that word. Jitta is the heart, this heart, our awareness, the way in which we're receiving things, knowing things, responding. Sajitta. That means we're not talking about someone else's heart. Sajitta means your heart, my heart, this heart. Sajitta pariotapanang means purify the heart. Purify the heart. Etang buddhana sasanam. These are the teachings of all the awakened ones, These are the teachings of the Buddhas. not just one Buddhas, all awakened ones. So I loved reflecting on the Mangala Sutta early, which is quite comprehensive. But if you take that and you distill it and boil it up, the Buddha is helping us get the whole path, all the teachings into perspective. This Ovada Patimokkha distills it, essentializes it to three trainings, 3 practices, which are the essence of this good way from suffering to the ending of suffering, from being a lost soul stuck in separative consciousness, isolation, alienation, to this homecoming, this remembering our deep belonging in this sacred web of life, deep harmony with all. When I first went to Thailand, I had some meditative experience, not much, but I knew that delicious feeling of getting peaceful and having some lights appear and vibratory energies. And that's what I wanted. I wanted more experience. The rarefied spiritual experience, which was delicious. But Ajahn Chah, it's interesting, and Master Wa too kept, and for a while I didn't know, well, why is he making such a big thing about this? He just says, you need to know the difference between bun and bap. That's in Thai. Bun is punya, means the auspicious, the wholesome. Bap, short for the papa of this phrase I just recited, is evil. Know the good between right and wrong. Know the difference between what is wholesome, what is not wholesome. That's so important. We're saying Ajahn Chah. If you look at the first training, Sabbapa Passa Akaranang, that first line, all that is harmful, all that is evil, Akaranang, stop. Don't. It's a training, takes an effort. And yet that is so important. So much of the harm of the world, the afflictions, the obstacles that are coming into our own life now are some of the consequences of our habitual tendencies in the past to follow the grasping, the greedy, the averse, the hurtful, the confused. This first training sometimes is called sila in the Pali language. It's also, I think in Sanskrit it's shila, but sila in Pali. It means restraint. That's an important part of practice. It's something that we cultivate. It's like a skillful know, something in us that if there's we're about to a beautiful flavor and we want more, which is fine, but maybe part of us really knows we've already eaten too much. But the no, is that evil? Well, this is subtle stuff, but it's the restraint of not doing that, not following that. The impulse to say something to someone that's cutting. It's true, maybe it's true, but part of us recognizes there's an intention to hurt there, just to inflict pain, to be the one that's right. That doesn't have to be said. Not saying, not doing. Even if nobody's looking, if something that doesn't feel right. Ajahn Chah used to say, sometimes we, think, well, nobody's looking, so I can do this. Ajahn Chah said, no, you don't respect yourself. You're looking. What do you mean nobody's looking? You're looking. What about respect for yourself? And so this no, this not. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. Don't have to blow any trumpets, but just to not say, not do, to stop. And even if there's you got to do something, you got to do something. And even something in us that recognize that's just a compulsive having to say or do something. What if I just go against that tendency and just don't? Just pause. That's the whole training of restraint, which is around the 5 precepts, 5 wonderful guidelines. Not intentionally harming or killing, not taking what wasn't given, what doesn't belong, not using our sensuality, sexuality to exploit, to take advantage, to harm ourselves or another, just for this compulsive desire for sensual pleasure, sexual pleasure, to refrain as a training. These are the 3 practices, the 3 trainings, the higher trainings that the Buddha said lead to the home ground.
You know where the other one is? Here.
That lead to the home ground. And the Buddha taught that in terms of speech and treasuring consciousness, not just following intoxication, that these no's, it looks negative, but the Buddha said, actually, they're 3 great gifts. So many people sometimes think, well, all the power players in the world, and we feel a bit hopeless and helpless. And God, what difference does it make for me doing my little thing? The Buddha said, when there is a sincere restraint, a training, a practice, a commitment not to harm, not to take what doesn't belong, not to exploit anyone, a commitment to truth, not to use speech that is just false or for the sake of harsh, just for the sake of hurting, just for the sake of dividing, just for the sake of just meaningless speech, restraining from that. The Buddha said, we actually offer immeasurable beings freedom from fear, hostility, and oppression. That no is a wondrous, pervasive gift to the whole planet, to all those on this planet. That all of us, everyone here in this gathering has a commitment to restraint in some form or other. We're all working on this. I just know it. We are. You wouldn't be here. To trust that together we're making a gift that's creating a matrix, a place within which, because beings won't see us as the threat, won't feel us somatically as the threat. So Ajahn Chah, great masters emphasize that. Stop, don't. And the middle one, kusala supasampada. Lift up that which is good. So we restrain from the harmful, lift up that which is good. Mindfulness, this huge one that we're lifting up. Making much of. Because guess what? We don't even notice if they're all interrelated, these trainings. If we're not mindful, we won't even notice that we're speaking harshly. We won't even notice that we're harming things. We won't even notice that we're taking advantage. So that And you think, well, Kittisaro, why didn't you put that one first? Well, look, it's the Buddha. But I think the Buddha just wanted to really highlight first is tangible, is just try to oversee the actions of this body, mind. And at first, just try not to kill anybody, not to rob a bank, not to take advantage of somebody sensually, sexually, exploit them, not to tell a whopping lie, not to just go get drunk. That's a beginning. We're starting to connect with a no, but then as that goes deeper and it will keep intermingling with the first one, this mindfulness, one of the qualities we lift up that lets us be aware, connected to what's happening. Kindness, another quality, so important. So we can be mindful and then the kindly to be friendly with this moment, help us reflect on what's happening. Another thing we can lift up is what we did, the chanting, the honoring what is worthy of honor is a training, a practice, having moments in our day. They don't even have to be, oh, golly, it's easy for you, Kittisaro. You've got all that monastic training. How am I going to have time to do pujas? I got to do this and that. Well, as Ajahn Chah would say, well, do you have time to breathe? What do you mean, do I have time? Of course I have time to breathe. What if you're so busy? How come you have time to breathe? He would say, well, because I have to breathe. Well, we can let our puja even just be a breath, an appreciative, appreciating the in-breath, appreciating the out-breath, and honoring this mysterious Dharma, a moment of gratitude. That's honoring what is worthy of honor. Yes, we're grateful for a breath, grateful for the awakened one, Namo Tassa. Doesn't take a big amount of time to it several times during the day. God, Namo, I return my life. I align with the awakened ones, the wise and compassionate ones that remind me that the seed of that, the essence of that is right here within me. And when we do, for example, uplift that, kusala supa sampada, lift up, make much of, for example, puja, make much of mindfulness, make much of kindness. That's a training. The Anapanasati sutta, for example, the mindfulness of breathing is something we can practice. It's wholesome. So really, whereas the first line, the first training is about sila, restraint, the second one, when you lift up that which is wholesome, that's really samadhi. That's what little by little becomes sustained and gathered and steady and bright and luminous. Because we're mindful of the breath. Many of you know how we teach that. I won't go through it, but the way the Buddha taught, the whole first steps about just connecting with the body, with the breath, widening the awareness, allow the blessing of where we've been with the breath to suffuse and bless the whole of the body. Allow the different elements of the body, the different parts that are too tense, too sluggish, to be homogenized, to allow those elemental subtle energies to balance, to calm this body mind so that there's a more pleasing abiding, which in and of itself is a blessing of samadhi, of lifting up what is wholesome. And then within that, we can be aware of the reactivity around feeling. Learn to practice being truly at ease, truly not so caught up and reacting to the moment. And And this, as one deepens in the practice of the breath, the way the Buddha taught, it's liberating. And then this is this final training. Sajitta pariyota panang. This heart, purifying the heart. Etang buddhana sasanam. This is the teaching of all the Buddhas. So as we start practicing presence, restraint from the harmful, lifting up that which is the good, steadying the mind, and we start to get the great return has begun. We're not just entangled in reactivity. We're starting to have perspective, noticing that feeling tones and the sense of the body and the sense of wanting and the not wanting all appear within this mind. We're starting to get a sense for the citta, a sense of the knowing. And starting to get a sense of these currents, that color, that shape, the citta, of the desire, of the aversion, of the entanglement, being confused, identified with, the praise. Oh, yeah, I've made it. And then when it changes, feeling dislocated and suffering. And then the blame and reacting to the blame and not realizing that praise and blame are conditions that come and go through the citta, through the heart. That happiness and suffering, that everyone, whether you're a Buddha or an ordinary worldling that hasn't practiced, whether you're a powerful ruler or whether you're a poor person, experiences pleasure and pain, happiness and neutral feelings. And so the heart is purified from these wrong notions. This key to the training, the last training is known as wisdom, sila, samadhi, panya. As the heart is purified of false notions. So seeing the changing nature of things. So important. The pleasure, the pain, the in-breath, the out-breath, the sounds. We start to, encouraged by the Buddha, with this mindfulness, with this relative ease from our commitment to living ethically and virtuously. We're freed up a little more from just so many of the repercussions. Right? The more we live an ethical life, the more that's a ground where samadhi, where more composure can manifest. Then within that, the heart starts to reflect, recognize the ephemeral nature of every sound, every word, every opinion, every view, every concept. Well, there's me, because I'm me and you're you. Me. It seems so obvious. There's me and you and here and there and yesterday and tomorrow. You gonna argue with that, Kittisaro? Without unconsciously, we can just assume the boundaries, the separate distinctions implied by grammar, by our language. We can just assume that is the nature of reality. There's this bit and that bit and here and there and yesterday and tomorrow, me and you. It's obvious. Prove it. Well, because I see you. When we start touching that obvious notions built around the idea of distinct, discrete, this is and that's, we start to allow even the concept I appears and dissolves within this silent listening. And within this silent listening, the so-called me and the so-called you are appearing in the same field. the pleasure, the pain, the sensations, the sights, the sounds, as we start to recognize their ephemeral nature, as the great architect of distinction and division, our thinking mind. It's not that it's evil, but as we bless, appreciate, purify the nature of thought, we realize that all these thoughts appear and dissolve, that just as the thought itself is empty of substantiality, so too all these apparent thises and that's, all this thingness is not really true. As the heart is purified from these so-called marks, what are called lakanas, characteristics of good and bad and this and that, as we start to see they're all appearing and dissolving within a undivided field of presence. The sense of self that was so entangled with sights and sounds and feelings and always shifting, and that angst of not really finding a place to rest, as that's recognized, and there's this letting go of the futile grasping at certainty where there is no certainty. Ajahn Chah says, if you look for certainty in that which is uncertain, you're bound to suffer. And if we want certainty in this realm of sights and sounds and circumstances of praise and blame, it's never certain. It's always shifting. Just that letting things be. The heart then touches back into and remembers, realigns, wakes up to again. It's luminous, unshakable ground. As the sixth patriarch said, to learn the way, look within, observe your own essential nature, then you are one and the same with each and every Buddha. To learn the way, when we really, this is just talking about the subtle dimension of practice, this third training in the heart, seeing the nature of all so-called external things, all sights and sounds are arising, dissolving, and ceasing within this heart. Look within, observe your own essential nature, this essence in the midst of all this coming and going. There's this essential stillness. It's just a simile, a metaphor, but it's like a sky. The Buddha said our heart is sky-like. Like lightning flashes are all the sights and sounds within an unmoving spaciousness. What the Buddha called this true home. He called it a Tathagata Garbha, the primordial matrix or womb. Garbha means womb. The womb that gives birth to all manifestations. The form is empty, the empty is form. So I love the simplicity, the profundity of the Ovada Patimokkha. This reducing the complexity of the path to these three essential practices or training. Refrain, stop, sabapapasa karanang. Don't do the harmful. Refrain from evil. Kusala supasampada. Lift up that which is good. Sajitta pariotapanang. Purify the heart. Etang buddhana sasana. These are the teachings of the Buddha, of the awakened ones. Ah, what a privilege to contemplate the Dhamma, to practice the Dhamma. Thank you, dear souls, for being with me. May we pause just a moment and recollect the goodness of appreciative awareness, of moments of mindfulness, appreciating the body and its relationship to Mother Earth, appreciating life-giving breath, the moments of our honoring what is worthy through our remembering of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, reflecting on the Ovada Patimokkha, the 3 great trainings that the Buddha taught. May this blessedness, this good fortune that we have, may we allow it to suffuse and permeate through this body-mind that we call myself. Every part of our body and mind may be touched, blessed, illumined by this goodness. As we relax, may this energy flow down into Mother Earth with gratitude. As we breathe in and out, may it flow to each other, our sacred Sangha circle around the globe. As we breathe in and out, holding lightly, like a pebble dropped into a pool, sending effortlessly ripples in all directions, so too may the blessings of our lives be shared with all beings everywhere. May all beings be well. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings discover true peace. Om Mani Padme Hum. Thank you, beautiful souls. Have a good day, a good evening, whatever time it is. Sending you big hugs.